Most people spend between $800 and $1,200 a month on groceries. That number has climbed every year for the past 4 years, and it is not coming back down. What almost nobody talks about is that a standard suburban backyard, a quarter acre with a fence and a shed, contains enough productive space to eliminate that bill almost entirely. Not reduce it, eliminate it. A 2022 analysis published in the journal Renewable Agriculture and Food Systems found that integrated backyard food systems combining animals and gardens on lots under half an acre can meet 70 to 100% of a household's protein, egg, and vegetable needs when properly designed. From a backyard, the system I am going to walk you through uses 8 animals, not 8 species you need permits for, not 8 animals that require a barn and 10 acres. 8 animals that fit in a standard residential backyard right now in most municipalities, legally, quietly, and productively enough to cover what you are currently buying at the store. Each one does a specific job. Some produce food directly, some reduce the cost of feeding the others, some do both. And when you run them together, the waste from one becomes the input for the next, which is the part that makes the math work at a scale most people cannot believe until they see it running. The last animal on this list is the one that holds the entire system together, and it is almost certainly not what you are expecting. The first animal in the system is the one with the fastest path from setup to food on your table: Coturnix quail. A quail chick hatches, matures, and begins laying eggs in 6 to 8 weeks. A chicken takes 5 to 6 months to do the same thing. That difference is not a minor convenience. It is the reason quail belong at the foundation of any backyard food system where speed matters. Here are the production numbers. A single hen lays roughly 250 to 300 eggs per year. 50 hens produce approximately 200 to 250 eggs per week. That is enough to cover the egg consumption of an average family with significant surplus. The space requirement for 50 birds is roughly 50 square feet in a stacked wire cage system. Feed consumption runs about 1 pound per day for the whole flock. Monthly feed cost is around $30 to $40. The average American household spends roughly $65 a month on eggs at current prices. 50 quail cover that, and then some, from a footprint smaller than a parking space, for $35 to $40 a month in feed. Setup cost for a 50-bird operation with housing and feeders runs $200 to $400 one time. The honest downside is temperature management. Coturnix quail are sensitive to cold below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. An uninsulated outdoor cage in a northern winter will crash your production. A simple insulated shed or garage corner with a heat lamp solves this completely, but it is not optional. The mistake most beginners make is sourcing generic birds and expecting maximum production. Productivity varies significantly by genetics. Source from a breeder who tracks lay rates. The difference in output between quality genetics and random stock is often 30 to 40 eggs per hen per year. The second animal makes feeding the first one significantly cheaper by eating something you are already producing every day. Black soldier fly larvae. A bin the size of a storage tote processes 2 to 4 pounds of kitchen scraps daily. Those scraps are converted by the larvae into body mass that is 40 to 45% crude protein, nutritionally comparable to commercial fish meal. A consistent bin system offsets 25 to 40% of your quail feed costs. The bin costs $30 to $75 to build. Starter larvae cost $6 to $15. In Zone 7 and warmer, wildflies colonize an outdoor bin on their own for free. When larvae mature, they crawl up a ramp and drop into a collection bucket below. You do not sort them or chase them. They deliver themselves. Feed the contents of that bucket directly to your quail. Run 3 small bins staggered 2 weeks apart rather than one large bin. One bin has boom and bust cycles. 3 bins give you a continuous, even harvest. Get the bins running before you buy your first bird. The third animal covers the food category the first 2 do not touch. Meat. A single breeding doe rabbit produces 4 to 5 litters per year, averaging 7 to 8 kits. Each kit reaches market weight of 4 to 5 pounds in 8 to 10 weeks. One doe generates roughly 100 to 140 pounds of dressed meat per year. 2 does and 1 buck in a cage system that fits in a 6 by 8 foot shed corner produce 200 to 280 pounds of meat annually. That is more than the average American household consumes in pork and beef combined. From 3 rabbits. Monthly feed cost for a breeding trio runs $25 to $40. Position the rabbit hutches directly above your black soldier fly bins. Rabbit manure drops through wire flooring into the bin below, and the larvae process it immediately. The rabbits feed the larvae operation for free, the larvae feed the quail at reduced cost, and nothing leaves the system as waste. The mistake that sinks most beginner rabbit operations is not planning for population growth before it happens. Rabbits breed fast. If you do not have a processing schedule before the second litter arrives, you will be overwhelmed. Build the plan before you breed. The fourth animal is a small, targeted flock of 6 to 8 laying hens chosen for maximum output. Here is why they belong alongside quail rather than instead of them. Chicken eggs and quail eggs serve different purposes. Chicken eggs are the workhorses of cooking. Quail eggs are the specialty product. Running both covers every egg use case your household has. 6 ISA browns generate roughly 1,800 eggs annually. Combined with your quail flock, your household egg supply is essentially unlimited for a combined feed cost of $50 to $70 per month. A chicken tractor moved across your yard daily lets your hens scratch through soil, eat insects, and deposit nitrogen-rich manure across garden beds. Each hen produces roughly 100 to 130 pounds of manure per year. 6 hens moved systematically provide meaningful garden fertility without a single bag of purchased fertilizer. The mistake people make with backyard chickens is using chicken wire for predator protection. Raccoons pull it apart. You need half-inch hardware cloth on all sides. The 5th animal handles the job none of the others do well. Pest control in the garden. 2 to 4 Muscovy ducks ranging your garden eliminate a startling percentage of slugs, snails, beetles, and flies. Peer-reviewed research has documented Muscovy ducks reducing fly populations by 80 to 90% in livestock areas. They do not scratch like chickens. Their flat feet move through beds without tearing root systems. And Muscovy ducks are nearly silent. They hiss and trill. They do not quack. In most municipalities that restrict noisy poultry, Muscovy ducks slide through without complaint. The meat is lean, dark, and rich, closer in flavor to roast beef than poultry. Rendered Muscovy duck fat sells for $20 to $35 per quart if you have surplus. The mistake is housing them with your chickens at night. Muscovy ducks need more ventilation and higher humidity than chickens. A simple 3-sided shelter with good airflow is enough, but it must be separate. The 6th animal is 2 beehives, not 1. 2. The reason is not about doubling honey output. It is about colony resilience. The 2024 to 2025 National Colony Loss Survey reported average annual losses of 55.6%. If you have 1 hive and it fails, you have no bees. If you have 2 and 1 struggles, you can share frames and resources from the healthy colony to save the other. Each hive occupies 2 to 3 square feet. A healthy hive in year 2 produces 30 to 60 pounds of surplus honey worth $300 to $900 at local raw honey prices. The more important number for a zero grocery bill system is pollination. Adding 2 hives to a garden with fruit trees and vegetables increases yields by 30 to 80%. You are not just getting honey. You are multiplying the output of everything else on your property. Do not expect honey in year 1. The colony needs its first season to build comb and store winter reserves. Learn to monitor varroa mite loads and treat when thresholds are exceeded. Untreated colonies collapse. The seventh animal expands what your system can produce into dairy, and it requires one infrastructure investment most people underestimate. 2. Nigerian Dwarf does. Never 1. A single goat screams constantly. 2 does in full milk production generate 1 to 2 quarts per animal per day at peak, enough for fresh drinking milk, yogurt, soft cheese, and soap. The butterfat content runs 6 to 10% compared to 3.5% in store cow milk. That fat is what makes the cheese exceptional. 1 gallon of Nigerian Dwarf milk yields 15 to 18% by weight in hard cheese versus 10 to 11% from store milk. You get more food from less milk. The fencing is where most people underinvest. Nigerian Dwarf goats will find every gap larger than their skull and use it. Woven wire, no-climb fencing is the only reliable option. Budget $1,500 to $3,000 and build it before you bring animals home. The milking schedule is twice daily, every day when does are in production. There is no skipping it. If that commitment does not fit your life, be honest about it before you spend the money. The 8th animal is the one I told you about at the start. The one that holds the system together and turns the waste from every other animal into something more valuable than the waste itself. Composting worms. Red wigglers. This sounds like a small addition. It is not. Your quail, chickens, rabbits, ducks, and goats produce manure every single day. Fed into worm beds at the right rate, that manure is converted into vermicompost, which is the highest quality soil amendment available for garden production. Independent research has documented yield increases of 25 to 40% in vegetable gardens amended with quality worm castings compared to plots using standard fertilizer. Your animals are producing this input for free every day as a byproduct of existing. Without the worms, that manure is a waste management problem. With the worms, it becomes the fertility engine for a garden that produces the vegetables completing your zero grocery bill. Worm castings also sell for $2 to $5 per pound, and demand routinely exceeds local supply. A worm bed sized to handle this system's manure output produces 20 to 30 pounds of castings per month. That is $40 to $150 per month in sellable product from a system running anyway. Setup cost runs $150 to $400. Management is 10 minutes per day. Here is the full loop. Kitchen scraps feed the black soldier fly larvae. Larvae feed the quail, cutting feed costs by 1/3. Quail and rabbit manure drop into worm beds and convert to castings. Castings feed the garden. Chicken tractors move across garden beds between plantings. Muscovy ducks patrol for slugs and flies. Bees pollinate everything, increasing garden yields by 30 to 80%. Goats clear brush and produce milk and cheese. Worms process all remaining organic material and produce a saleable product on top of everything else. Start with worms and quail. Get those 2 systems running and connected. Add rabbits in month 2, chickens in month 3, bees in spring, ducks when your garden is established, goats when your fencing is built. The system compounds. Each addition makes every previous system more productive and less expensive to run.